Mixing example 2, leveling and panning and dynamics. So what we're going to do now in the tutorial is we're going to do a second example of mixing. But this time, instead of me going over the process as we do it, like we already did once before, I want this example to be more streamlined and more focused on having you listen to the exact changes that I'm making and not having me explain every little detail of what I'm doing. That way we can take more time and get more accomplished without all of the talking and stuff. And so what I've done for this is I've created work files. So there's a whole bunch of videos that are work files, and this is the first one here, which is leveling and panning 1, and this is for our mixing example 2. And so what I'm going to do in these few videos is I'm going to kind of skim through some of these things I did, let you know what some of the changes are that I made, and then you can go and look at those work files individually, and you can turn it up, turn it down, listen to those changes that I'm making without all of a sudden having me talk in your ear and such. And so this one right here is level and panning. And so you can see here, this is our song. And right now we're starting out and everything is pulled down a little bit, but all our panning is set to the middle. And what I'm doing here is I'm going through and starting the process of balancing out the levels and panning and such. And you'll notice after this crazy introduction, everything comes in and it's all the levels are out of whack. So if we speed up a little bit, there we go. Those guitars come in pretty crazy right here. I pull those down and you can hear the drums are kind of mushing there and such. Okay, and so as we kind of fast forward, you can see that I go through and do some drum panning and adjust the levels of the drums. Okay, and so we progress through and get kind of the levels set. And the mix is a little bit better happening. Okay, a little bit more balanced just from doing levels and panning. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, after that we'll go on to dynamics. Okay, so this is dynamics 1, and so in this video, at about 2 minutes here, we're working on drums. So working on the kick drum and such, getting the dynamics happening for these individual drums. And then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll hold the option key, and I will, as you can see right there, hold the option key, and I'm going to copy and paste basically, or just copy and drag the plugin. And what that's going to do is it's going to carry my settings over, and so then it's kind of like pulling up a default setting that I've been using on these drums, and then I can tweak it for the individual part. So I take similar compression settings on everything, but of course if I do the same compression settings on overheads that I did on kick drum, it's going to smash my overheads and they're not going to sound that good. And so that's kind of the process that I'm going through here, and you can see how that affects the sound. Okay, then if we go to 445 here, we start working on the bass. Okay, and so I'm adding some plugins, and you'll notice this time that I'm not just using the DigiZine plugins, the Avid plugins, the Pro Tools plugins, the compressor limiter, Dynamics 3 and such. This time I'm going more into my arsenal of different plugins, because there's a lot of benefit that comes from varying which plugins you use and not just using the same compressor on every track, because each compressor reacts a little differently and has a little different character to it. So you can use that to help kind of create that clarity and separation in your mix. Okay, so there's the bass, working on that, and then we go to 556 here, where I start working on the guitars. And I really like this Renaissance axe for guitars. It's really easy, straightforward, and sounds great. Really hot sometimes, so we have issues like the rest of the mix with our levels being a little too hot here. And okay, and then I just copy and paste to the other track. Okay, so there's our our leveling and panning in our Dynamics 1 videos, and we'll move on to Dynamics 2 and 3 in just a moment.